Hey, welcome back to another episode of This Week at Skye. And we're back in the studio together.
Hey, Ashley, high five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing, Phil?
Good.
Good to see you in person again.
I'm great. Yeah, good to see you again.
How was your week?
My week was fantastic. Last week we went to the Philippines. So we did 3 cities in 3 days. We did our roadshow with the team. So we got team members across Philippines in, more than 3 cities, but we brought some of the team members to one of the cities. And it was good. We just did a workshop, a full half day. And it was jam-packed with heaps of stuff. So my takeaways from last week was, getting to see team members face to face, which is always super special, and just hearing feedback from them. I wrote down 7 pages worth of notes. And the most important thing is actually coming back and executing on the promises that we made.
Yeah, we've already started. Well, I don't know about other people, but in my pod meeting, whenever someone came back, I asked them what their takeaways were, if there was anything they learned that we could do different in our pods. So we've already started doing things differently.
What are you doing?
We used to be going through that dashboard that we have every single day. We're now doing that only every second day and taking more turns going through it and then focusing largely on tasks, what people's to-dos are. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, and it was good to have everyone around the table and give each other suggestions. Oh, my pod's doing this and we're doing this and it's working, or this isn't working. So
it's a little bit siloed otherwise.
Yeah. Which is also not a bad thing. And part of the conversation was we're okay for it to be siloed, because then we'll get to see if the pod's working really well or not working really well, and then we can share those learnings, but allowing a bit of experimentation, which is good. But other takeaways was having dinner at everyone's, in everyone's city, which was really special. And then my favourite thing was the yoki, the karaoke. So we did 3 nights in a row.
That's so much karaoke.
And then the last night we were done. Our time was up, so we book, and literally these are 3 hours worth of karaoke each night. It was full on. So the last night, everyone of the Filipino team had gone home except for Justin, and it was us 4 Aussies left. And then they came in and said, "Oh, you haven't consumed as much as you need to, because you pay a certain amount and you consume it." And so I looked around to Taz, Trent, Peter, and Justin and said, "What are we going to do? Are we finishing up or extending for another hour?" And Taz said, "Yeah, let's extend another hour." And I said, "Can we do half an hour?" He's like, "No, only an hour." So we went for another hour, and we're thinking, look, we'll be done in half an hour. But we used up the full hour. We were singing to our heart's content.
So 10 hours of karaoke.
10 hours of karaoke, yeah.
Big week.
It was a big week. And we have a new favourite song.
Yeah, it's the song of The Office.
It's the song of The Office. You're all forced to listen to it.
Yeah, on repeat. Non-stop this morning. Haven't heard any other songs today.
Yeah, because it's raining in Manila. It's raining in Manila. It's a new favourite song. So yeah, how was your week?
Good. Wasn't raining in Manila for me. I only got to hear that on Friday, but had a quieter week in terms of advice meetings. So I was following up a lot of clients that I've spoken to over the last couple of months, just seeing if there's anything I can do to help get them insured. A few people hadn't heard from a while, so I was sending them some quotes just to help demonstrate to them that the recommendation is just that. It's our recommendation, but there's options, that covers what you're going to be taking out. So let's work together, find something hopefully that you want to take out. Had a coffee catch-up with Sam. So we have our monthly pairings. This was Sam's first one. So when he was here as an intern, didn't join. But now that he's an associate, part of the team, had his first catch-up.
What did you do? Did you go for a walk?
Went for a walk, yeah. Found out that he hasn't really gone for any walks around here yet. So that means he's been staying in the office. That's not ideal. But when we're walking down, at the very bottom of the hill, there's Rendell Engineering. So,
that's his engineering firm.
Yeah. It's got multiple businesses already.
Oh, how good. Hustling. I like it.
But that was my week. We've had some interesting reads this week. First up, we had Carly's written an article with...
What does Carly stand for?
Council of Australian Life Insurers.
Nice, nailed it.
Finally remembered. Yeah. This is why we don't do acronyms.
This is
Who
exactly
can remember?
Why we don't, yeah.
So they're the large body in, overseeing or advocating for life insurers, I suppose.
Yeah.
they've written an article with Risk Info chatting about how young Australians are priced out of life insurance. So I think probably when we first started doing this, we were talking about the musical chairs report. And in that, there was a lot of data about how young Australians do want advice but are priced out. So similar sort of stats in here, 57% of young Australians say they want advice, but they're turning to social media instead, piecing pieces together through Google, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it may be, coming up with their own recipe to work it out. That's one of the things that we rely on is, the social media podcasts, the relationships that we have with other people that young Australians are already getting their relationship to. So it's definitely not a bad thing. The article sort of makes it sound like,
It's impossible.
Yeah, it shouldn't be piecing it together on your own, but it's doable. But I think the moral of the story of this article was that there's room for more affordable options for young people to get life insurance.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I said before we hit recording I might have a spicy take. So one of the things about Carly is they have a vision that they want insurance companies to be able to offer advice. So one thing that's been proposed by government is this new class of advisor. So it's kind of back to the future where the aim is that people can have more access to advice, because to be a financial advisor, you've got to go through basically do like a postgraduate degree. You got to do a year of professional year. So it's pretty high education standards, which is great. But instead of going and deciding that actually let's maybe pull that back to get more access to advice, the government said actually let's just provide a new class of advisor. And there's a bit of jostling about what that looks like. Some of the main factors is how do we get like super funds and insurance companies being able to offer advice that's limited to their product. So Carly's is on a little bit of an agenda to push the insurance companies to be able to offer advice to these young clients. So, having a narrative that young people can't get advice does help their case. Our average client age is 34, and we work with a lot of clients now. There's thousands of Australians who need advice, and we can't service all of them. So I personally advocate for insurance companies to be able to offer insurance advice as well. But there needs to be very clear guidelines. If they can't be recommending another product and cancelling that unless they really do a really good job, articulating to the potential members or policyholders what they're going to lose out on, because there's going to be a two-tiered system. If they can do exactly what we can do, but we've got to have all these education standards, we've got to have all this documentation and red tape, but they can do effectively the same thing, then that's going to be a hard pill to swallow after we've all gone through our education standards and you've done a year of professional year, but then someone else can do exactly what you can do with almost no education requirements. That's where it'll be tricky. It'll be interesting to see where we land.
Yeah, my question was going to be, how much of an education gap for the client, customer, whatever it may be, whichever pathway they went through, would there be if they went with this new class of advisor as opposed to coming to someone at Skye, for example?
In terms of for the clients, what is the difference? Yeah, so the difference for them, and it's not legislated yet. It's just all proposed and the way governments work with any kind of changes of legislation, it's all very, the cogs of government, turn very, very slowly. So we'll see where it all ends up. But basically, the education requirements is very minimal. And so therefore, what is required today? And again, this is, I've gone on rants before about general advice, what that looks like. So general advice is, you can go to someone and set up an insurance policy, same policies that we can set up, but they won't give you any advice on whether it's right or wrong for you. They will just give you factual information. I have a big gripe against that. I think that's low key, shouldn't be legal. But if they wipe out general advice and replace it with new class of advisor, I think that's a great move forward, because then we have some guidelines around what is and isn't allowed within that new class of advisor. But if you want, full financial advice with full consumer protections, then you've got that. Then you've got that other option. But it'd be interesting. Nothing's legislated. Nothing. It's all kind of proposed. But the idea of getting insurance companies to be able to sell their own products, I like. I think, consumers, you should be able to go to an insurance company and buy their products. If
you know what you want, you should be able to go and buy it. It doesn't really make sense. You know, how many other products are there out there where you can't go direct to the person selling it and buy it directly from them?
There's a few. It's unusual. Like if I want fruit tingles, which I'm accustomed to. I like it. I like a cheeky fruit tingle.
There you go.
I can't go in. I don't know who makes fruit tingles. Who makes fruit tingles?
You know, it's escaping my memory. I can see. Is it Lifesaver?
Lifesavers.
Is that the brand?
Yeah, is that the brand? Yeah. Okay.
maybe.
So no, it's Potty's. Allen's.
Is it?
No, it's not. You're making that up. I'm googling it. No, Lifesavers is the brand. Yeah, Lifesavers is a brand. You're right, Ash. Yeah, you're wrong, Potty. Just butt out. So, Lifesavers since 1921 is on their branding. So, if I want to get some fruit tingles, I don't go to Lifesavers and get fruit tingles.
True.
Because they distribute through, Woolworths and Coles and
Sure.
whatever else. So, there are lots of this. But if I really, really wanted to go to Lifesavers, not Allen's.
They could have a factory outlet.
They could have a factory
There's
outlet.
a Darrell Lee factory outlet.
That's
rave
right.
about it.
But when we're talking about like online businesses, insurance companies, like it's pretty unusual that you can't just call up, the insurance company directly and go and buy the policy. That's where it's like, you can go to the bank and get a mortgage through that bank if you want to. You don't need to go through a broker. Now, you want to go through a broker because they've got options, and that's why I'm not worried from Skye's point of view as to how we're going to survive, because I think we'll actually be better off if insurance companies could sell their own products, because then it will feel less like we're gatekeeping and we're setting the rules and we're not allowing clients to do anything, because clients can't call up the insurance company and make changes themselves. That's kind of ridiculous. It's their policy. They should be able to. Now, if they want guidance, we can help them with that, but they shouldn't have to come through us, which is the kind of issue at the moment. But anyway, that's my rant over.
Over. No, I mainly picked out this article because I thought it was quite interesting. At Skye, our fees are 10% of what the average financial advice fee is. It normally sits at about like 4,000.
Yeah, less than 10%.
Less than 10% of that. And so to say, Australians are priced out, well, we're here. We're an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are other, we've got Nicole Benedict, which I'm sure I've just butchered that last name, but they run a business as well. And I reached out to Nicole after I saw the article and said, great job. It was a good article. So there are businesses out there that you can go to, but it's just the majority won't work with young clients because the premiums aren't high enough or whatever the case may be. It's complex and that their systems aren't set up for it. So it is slim pickings for young people to get advice.
Yeah, and I suppose if you don't have that choice of advisors to go and see, maybe there's a little bit less trust of who is available because you're like, if they're the only people there, are they actually good?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to be skeptical. Yeah.
Which, as good financial advisors should be, we're all skeptical.
100%. Speaking of financial advisors, Azaria, one of the advisors here, shared with everyone a really interesting Reddit thread early in the week, last week.
Are you a Redditor? Do you go on Reddit at all? Me neither. I've never been into Reddit.
Reddit to the right?
I don't know. That shows you how out of Reddit touch I am. But anyway, I completely interrupted you. Keep going. I just wanted to know, we are not Reddit people.
No. But that was probably the longest I've spent on Reddit and looking through this comment section. There's a young man who is diagnosed with cancer, going through treatment for it and working as much as he can simply because financially he can't afford not to. He's 27, doesn't have income protection, trauma cover, which if he had come through and gotten advice is what definitely would have been recommended for him. The comment section was really interesting. Lots of people talking about or suggesting, have you checked your super fund? Do you have insurance there? Some people saying, you don't get income protection when you're that young. What could you have done different? Some other people advocating, saying that they are now widow. Their partner had life insurance from the age of 20, so they're really grateful for that. That comment made me think, there's so few people that get these life covers in their early 20s. But of course, Azaria, the one who shared it, she's the one who got, was it 19 that she got?
I think so, crazy young.
Crazy young.
Yeah.
But
I think 21.
Yeah, okay.
I could be wrong, but I think when she first started working a full-time job, that's when she got it, and I think it was 21.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we've got a clip somewhere of her saying it, but we'll find out.
How old she really was. But yeah, it was really interesting. And I was wondering if maybe you'd speak more to this young man not having cover in his super anymore.
Yeah. So again, all right, here we go. You team me up for a rant. So I was going to rant on the fact that, so the good thing, there's always double-sided coin. The good thing about super is it does set up a default level of cover. Now, the downside of that is that Australian consumers kind of just think, oh, my super's got it covered, because it's just automatic. Now, everyone, when they look at the default levels of cover, it's $130,000 of life and disability, and maybe $1,000 or $2,000 per month for 2 years. Now it's something, and it's good that it's there, and I'm glad the default system is there. But the downside is we just expect it to be appropriate for our needs, and it almost never is. And the other thing that I was going to rant on is the government came in, I'm going to say 2019. There was protecting your super legislation.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And so as a part of that legislation, what they did is they said, we don't want, there's a whole bunch of measures, but basically we're worried about people's superannuation savings being depleted by, double fees. So if you've got multiple funds, you're going to get charged multiple fees, and insurance premiums. And so one of their concerns was anyone under 25 doesn't actually need default cover. So what the government did is legislated so super funds can't set up policies until someone's 25. So even if you join the fund when you're 21, your policies aren't going to be set up as a default until you hit 25. And then
I think you also have to have a minimum balance of 6,000 as well.
Yeah.
So if you're 25 and the balance isn't high enough, they won't add it either.
Yeah, exactly. And there's other things that get me on my high horse frustrated about it is if you're not contributing to that fund every 16 months, they'll cancel the policy. So if you're on parental leave and you're not super in tune with your super, which no one is, like no one reads their super statements, then you'll lose your insurance policies. And this legislation's been around for a while. We try to make a bit of noise when it came out because there was some massive issues with it. Like, the biggest issue is young people do need insurance. As we see with this young guy, he's 27. Like if he, got it set up the default level at 25, great, he's got something, but he may have had cancer when he was 25 and he's still battling and he wouldn't have had any insurance. So there's a whole bunch of issues there, but it's just a great reminder when clients tell us how I'm young and healthy, I don't need insurance. I had a big rant with Ruby and Seb the other day, which the videos has been released on our argument. But yeah, it's just this thing that I get really passionate about people telling me how young and healthy they are. I got insurance set up when I was 24. It was when I first started working in advice, maybe 24, 25. But, young, and it was like there was never a question of, I'm too young and healthy. It's, hey, I've got an income I need to protect. So
the best time is when you're young and healthy, no exclusions.
Yeah, and that was one comment that I read was someone said, hey, this is why it's important to get insurance. Now, that wasn't Azaria making that comment. I thought it was. But saying, hey, this is why insurance is so important when you're young because, yes, you all feel we're invincible, but things happen. And then, someone replied saying, well, that's all good and well, and if you have cancer, you can't get insurance, which makes sense. If I crash my car, I'm not calling up the insurance company saying, can I get insurance now? That's why it's so important that we get insurance before we crash our car, before we have health events, before, any of these things happen. Before I go traveling, I set up, travel insurance. Yeah. As soon as I have a full-time job, it should be that automatic. We set up income protection.
It's so automatic to go, okay, going traveling, getting insurance. There is very few people who go, great, got a job, time to get insurance. There's definitely a big gap there.
And again, I think my view is I think it's because we just assume super's got it sorted. I remember seeing insurance within super funds, so I'm sure it's fine. And yeah, I don't know. I would love people to get insurance as soon as possible and as early as possible because I get grumpy. You guys team me up all the time. Every time we have a new person in the office and
it's good fun. It's one of my hobbies.
Yeah, just team me up to have a rant. But yeah, I mean, obviously super unfortunate for this young man and it's devastating to go through that. And we see a lot of people going through claims in our work and that's kind of a lot of the work that, Courtney does the bulk of the work, but I'm seeing and overseeing what's going on. And, it doesn't discriminate, unfortunately.
No, it really doesn't. Now to change pace, we have Baking Corner.
Let's go.
What will it be this week, oh my?
All right, now it is time for Ash's Baking Corner. Let's go. And we have a guest. We've got Sam. Sam, welcome. Now, you know the rules.
I do.
Okay, you got to give us a number. You got to rank how well you like it. Now, what do we got? Ooh, what do we have, Ashley?
This week is apple buns or appelbullen, Swedish.
Appelbullen.
Yep.
Go.
Now, if we want the story behind the baking,
we always want the story
why not?
behind the baking.
I don't have a stand mixer, so I do all of my kneading by hand. And so,
It's a stand mixer. Should I know what that is?
yeah, you know, like you can just put all the ingredients in and then it mixes
That's
itself.
the thing
Yeah.
over the top. That Aren't
Yeah.
they KitchenAids? Don't people call them KitchenAids?
That's a specific brand.
Yeah. But
You know, anyway.
it's a stand mixer.
Stand mixer.
Got it.
I don't have one of those, so did all the kneading myself. And so I didn't get it to the point where I was happy with the dough, but my hands were too sore. I had to stop. Whole hour of kneading and it still wasn't soft enough.
When's
so
your birthday, Ashley?
May.
All
It's
right,
come and gone.
everyone in the office, let's pitch in. Let's go. We've got, you know,
I'm hoping that maybe
10
in
months to
summer,
save up.
if it's warmer in summer, maybe the dough will be more pliable quicker. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway,
Sure. Yeah,
Sam.
we'll see what we think.
Oh, and the other thing was I had one straight away out of the oven. Really good. When I feel it this morning,
Okay.
I'm skeptical.
Okay. Number?
Let me get a second bite first.
Yeah, no, good. They're dull, if I'm being honest. They look dull, but that's the look? Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just giving commentary as we wait for the second bite.
The other thing is it's more easy to get in Scandinavia, but they often will put pearl sugar on the top of things. So like, you know, quite big chunks of sugar on the top that adds to the
And you can't get pearl sugar in
appearance.
Australia?
There's one place I can get it. There's a Swedish church here where apparently I can
Swedish
go.
church that sells pearl sugar.
Yeah. I haven't gone, but
All right. Samuel,
time?
let's go. Ranking.
I must go initially, I'd say 6.5 out of 10. Honest opinion. I really like the filling, the apple is that, but the pastry a little bit dry, but the filling makes up for it.
6.5. Okay, good. That's not that harsh.
Not that hard.
So I'm harsher on camera than I am in person. So
That's 10 being the best pastry I've ever
Yeah.
tasted. Yeah.
what's your go-to pastry?
Go to pastry. Does a cinnamon scroll count? Then or a custard scroll. So I'm a scroll guy. Yeah.
There's a lot of Cinnabon in the Philippines, and so we smashed that a few times this last week.
interesting piece of information. Looks good to me.
Does
And
it? I get why you say it's dry. I don't know.
So the pictures of them, they all have like a thicker base
Okay.
from when you fold it together, and then it's like thinner on the top. Yeah. But the bread that's used for this is the same base recipe for cinnamon buns.
My first bite wasn't as good as my next
Yeah.
bites.
Definitely.
I'm actually giving it a better rating than you, Sam,
Really?
because I'm a better guy, and I'm a nicer human being, and because I normally give really harsh ratings. I think what was last week 4 on Anzac,
was that? What?
Anzac Bickies.
Okay.
I almost broke a tooth, but I actually like these quite a bit. But warm would be absolutely ideal. I reckon 7.5. All right. Thank you for joining us for Baking Corner, Sam.
So this week I've been working with a client who already has retail cover. So I personally don't have a lot of those come across my table. This client's health situation has dramatically changed since they first took out their cover. It was, I think, 15 years ago. So for her, we're looking at using the Guaranteed Future Insurability option, or GFI as it likes to get shortened to, for her so that we can try and get her some cover without having to go through medical underwriting. So what that means is because her health situation has changed so much, it's not looking like income protection TPD. If she were to apply today, she wouldn't be able to get it. But because she already has the cover, we're able to increase the TPD that she has by 25%. Because she meets the criteria for a particular life event that's happened.
Yeah.
The definitions or the scope of what was allowed for Guaranteed Future Insurability was quite broad for the PDS that she has. It means that the life event just has to have happened since she took out the cover.
Ah, cool.
So it means that I haven't had to rush the prep as you might normally. often with Guaranteed Future Insurability, there's like a 30-day window.
Yeah.
But luckily in this instance, the life event has just happened, so we can go whenever.
This is a good thing about those older policies. They were so much more generous than they are today. And that's why it's like super risky. When you have existing retail cover, don't just replace it if you can save money, because there's all these features and benefits that may be super beneficial that you don't want to lose.
Yeah. So at the time, unfortunately, she didn't have trauma cover. She didn't take out any trauma cover, so we're looking to add that onto the policy she has. And then there's still going to be a bit of a shortfall for her income protection and her TPD need. So we're going to be recommending taking out accident only for that difference that she can.
Yeah, cool. And a bit of a shout out. We are recording a video about Guaranteed Future Insurability. It'll be out in a little while, but we did a team session about it. Like Monday morning workshops, we do a team session, and so I actually messaged Eddie and said, actually, this will be a great topic for us to do a deep dive on, because it is complex and it is like very nuanced, and depending on when you took out the policy, as you said, like the old policies are much more generous than today. And so, we're doing a deep dive video on that.
Oh, that'll be good.
Which is good. So for me, what's coming up, or what I've had to deal with, so we talked last week about having an ASIC fine. And so I went on LinkedIn and kind of just, it's with these ASIC fines, ASIC puts out an infringement notice, and it sounds really bad. I read it and I was like, oh, that sounds really bad. It talks about unregistered advice, but it doesn't really clarify exactly what happened. So I went and did an article on LinkedIn just to explain kind of what happened from my end with screenshots of everything, and so it, just kind of clarifying that it can be easy to make the mistake, and 5 licensees have made it, and my guess is there'll be a lot more, which was good. That it created a lot of noise, a lot of people reaching out to me directly saying, hey, I'm sorry you had to deal with that fine. And even FAAA, the association, reached out to me and they got on the phone. That's big. Yeah, and they were talking to me about, they were talking about it around the office, and a bit kind of bewildered that ASIC fined us so much, because, normally what happens when new legislation comes in, ASIC takes here we go, a facilitative approach. So what they mean is they will look at what's going on. If someone's not doing the right thing, they will kind of say, hey, this is the right thing. It's new legislation. We understand what happened.
How old is this legislation?
Well, when we got pinged, it was 2.5 months old.
Yeah, wow.
So it had only just come in.
Probably one of the first to get pinged.
So 3 people got pinged initially, because when it transitioned, everyone had to be registered. So we already did it, all of our old advisors. We would have been in the first cohort of people getting pinged for new advisors. And so, it was good. It was a lot of noise, a lot of support, a lot of people. One of my favourite things, which I also did another post on, was
I saw that over the weekend.
ART got fined $18,000 for allegedly, is what ASIC used, the term, allegedly misleading their performance numbers. But basically what they did is their 2022 performance numbers, they had that percentage performance for another 12 months. So showing their 23 numbers was their 22 numbers for 12 months. And obviously those performance numbers were better than their 23 numbers. And they got fined $18,000. And so I cheekily put it up and just like, look, let's compare the pair here. Let's compare their fine. They got 2.4 million members, 300 billion in assets under management. We had 11 clients impacted by it, and we're a small business. So, So both of those posts got a bit of noise, but if anyone's got any questions, as you had questions in our this week at Skye, it was good just to put as much clarity around it as possible, and just be as transparent as possible about what happened and why it happened.
I think people really appreciated that level of transparency, that's for sure. I think that's what a lot of the comments were sort of around, commending you on that. So, it was very good.
And, all right, what do we got coming up? What do you got coming up this week?
I have, I'm going to TAL's PY community event. So once a month they online gather all people that are doing their professional year or have just finished or just about to start.
When do you graduate from not going?
I don't know when to stop going.
Too much of a big
to be honest, I could stop whenever I wanted to, but I just still find there's a lot of interesting information. I've only really been advising, I've only been in this industry for 18 months, so there's still plenty for me to learn. I think if I start going and feel like I'm wasting my time, maybe then I'll stop. But for now, it's still quite helpful.
And it'd be valuable for the other attendees to have people who are on the other end and can ask questions about
Exactly.
what it was like as well.
Yeah.
Instead of all people learning at the same time and trying to come through it together.
Exactly.
Having you on there would be super valuable as well.
Thanks, Phil.
Um,
What have you got going on this
We've
week?
got, so I'm recording a lot, as I said, recording a video with Eddie, got heaps of other recordings, but some of the content we're putting out is a Skye Simplifies, how advisors can save money on your premiums. There's sometimes a misconception that go through your super fund, it's cheaper, it's better. And so we do a Skye Simplifies about how advisors can actually save a lot of money on premiums compared to other options. A deep dive with Neha, comparing insurance around the globe. So we have a discussion around like different jurisdictions and what types of policies there are and what's unique about Australia versus, some African countries, UK, US.
She's well placed for that one, having
Yeah.
worked in actuarial studies, science around other countries.
Yeah, so that was a good chat. And we've got insurance myths. I'm single, so I don't need insurance. That's a good topic that we touch on. And then we got some other videos with some of our team, with Care doing a Skye Moments. And then the big one, we did Ash's Baking Corner around the globe. So when we were in the Philippines, we got our Filipinos to try the Anzac biscuits and give you a rating. And so I try to, just to make myself not look as bad, I try to make them give you bad ratings.
Oh.
But I won't give it away, but they give you pretty decent ratings across the board.
Look, I've had a few people reach out to me and tell me that they were giving 10, 10, 10s. I'm like, you're all lying. They're not that amazing.
Well, I gave a 4. So there's that.
I think somewhere between a 4 and a 10 is reasonable.
The biggest tell for me is when someone gave you a 10 but then put down the bicky and didn't touch it again. It's like, well, come on. It's not. If it's a 10,
That's hilarious.
I'm taking 3 of them. But there was a team member who works in your pod, and we interviewed her at the end of the day, and she was like, "Oh, I've already eaten 2 of these," and then she gave you a 10, and so I was like, "All right, that's a legit."
She's probably the only legit 10.
Yeah, well, there's probably legit 10s, but Danica is the proper legit 10 for sure.
Yeah. So cute.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Phil. Good to be here. Good to see you in person
Yeah,
again.
good to be here.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. It's raining in Manila.